Hello again, it's Elizabeth and I'm over here in my art loft. I have a blank piece of the stencil, the paper that I cut for stencils, and one of my subscribers, yeah, that's the word, asked me to show how I cut my stencils, so I thought I would do that tonight. I do hear one of the neighbors setting off a few fireworks still. It's not the 4th of July, obviously, but they don't know what day it is, so you might hear that. Also, I just noticed that my trees are blowing outside, so there may be a storm coming. Anyway, we'll try and see if we can get through this video, and if it doesn't work, then I'll have to do it again. So, to start a stencil, the first thing I do is draw what I want to cut out, or basically what I want to cut out. For example, well, first of all, I start with a sheet that is larger than my gel plate, and my gel plate is the 12 by 14. So this sheet of paper is actually 15 by 13. So I have a 1/2 inch leeway on each side, top and bottom, of when I'm placing it on the gel plate. I don't have to get it exact, but I usually make my stencil, the picture of the stencil, go off to the edge, because that way if you have it scooted over just a little bit, it doesn't look funny if you've got a big white space on that edge. That's just me. This is some kind of a masking paper that I got from my sister, and you can see it has two parts. This is a sticky part, and then the backing paper, and the backing paper is pretty thick. I mean, it's thicker than like typing paper or something. The masking vinyl, feels like vinyl to me anyway, is thinner. Well, about like typing paper. Now I've got a bubble there, and I don't like bubbles in my stuff. Okay, there's the bubbles gone. Okay, so let's say that I'm going to do some leaf forms. I did a stencil similar to this, but I'm going to do it this way this time. And what I did the last time was to just draw myself some lines that were about 2 inches apart. And since I left off my 1/2 inch, then 12 inches divided by 2 would be, of course, 6. So you're going to have 6 of these little areas. 1, 2, 3. Well, it looks like we're having 5, so I'm not making them 2 inches apart. But that's okay too. So we'll just have 5 instead of 6. So I don't have any problem with that. And then I divided it the other direction, and I made it just kind of little random looking rectangles. And you can see that I'm not worrying about getting it straight. I'm not worrying about having them exactly even. I'm just drawing little rectangles so that I will know where I'm going to cut my leaf forms. And I don't know if I have enough room for 2 of them in there. Yeah, I do. We'll do that. Okay, so then in this case, I just start cutting. And I can start anywhere. I could start down at the bottom and go across and make it, logical, or I could just start in the middle. And since I know that I don't want my leaf forms to touch each other, i.e. I want to have exact stencil holes with this. That was one of my neighbor's fireworks. I get so tired of that. I wish that they had them somewhere else. Yes, I do. Anyway, and if it messes up, and you can see that I got that little crooked, I didn't like it, so I cut a little bit more out of it. So that's one of them. And in this case, I'm going to make them opposite each other. So this one's going this direction. This one's going to be going this direction. So since I have this rectangle, I'm simply going from like one corner to the opposite corner of the rectangle. And as you can see here, I did go over the line and get into the next guy's rectangle. So when I get to that point, and I do have to make sure my things disconnect. And where did my other little leaf go? I saved those just in case I'm ever going to use them for masking things. But so I would start from this one, and I would just make sure that I didn't get too close to that one. So it's as easy as that. Now if I wanted a stem, I would probably have to, let's go ahead and put a stem on here, and we'll change this whole stencil around since I'm not doing this for a specific stencil. If I made a long stem like that, let's say that we did that, I'll just put it over to here, and we'll do our leaves to go around there instead, then I would have to change my leaf look so that it would fit in with that stem. Okay, so this is the stem, so we'll double it up so we remember it's a stem. But we want to make sure if we do something like that, a really long spiral, for example, it'll weaken your stencil. So you want to make sure if you do something like that, that you have something that crosses that at some point and keeps you from having to do a really long single line that's going to weaken your stencil material. So I'm going to put the stem down through here, and of course I did not do that wide enough, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about it. Okay, that's how much I got cut, and it's really wide here, and it's really skinny there. Maybe there's a branch here. So there's a branch that goes off this way. No other branches, and we better stop with that because I don't want that to mess up. So I'm going to stop there, and at that point, okay, where did I go? Okay, I was going off this way with this one. And I should have done it there and had a leaf form go across it there, but I didn't. Okay. Okay, you stop there. Okay. So then we would have perhaps, sometimes you have to draw things out so that you don't forget what you're doing as you go along, because I just did. Okay, so we would have another leaf form here. And maybe the next leaf form actually turns on itself and goes along here like this. It's kind of a bigger leaf form, I think. But it has a little turned up place. Let's cut this part out. Okay. And it's coming off here. So there's where it's coming off there. And it turned over on itself. So that's why it's like that. And then when our stem comes up here, it comes up to this point, stops, and then continues on after that. I will listen to this and see if it's usable with all the fireworks that people think they still have to set off at this time of the night, every single night. And annoy people. I can't imagine if you had dogs. I mean, if you had dogs, they're going to be barking and everything else when they hear that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's my leaf that doubled back on itself. Yeah, come on out of there. There's my other leaf that was next to it. Okay, so you can see how the leaf turned over and went that way. Then our stem goes on off to oblivion or wherever. Somewhere out here. And we continue with doing leaves on this side. So that one came from that stem, and then maybe we want one from this stem as well. Okay. And then maybe we just fill the rest of this part with leaves. Okay, but on this side, we're going to have to stem this stem somewhere. going to have to stop this stem somewhere so that our leaves don't and do the same kind of thing as that, where the leaf is coming up across the stem. Make that a little nicer. It doesn't really matter. Stems are not just perfect. And see, this is a little off too, so we'll fix that one though. I mean, you can make stencils out of approximately anything. You can make them out of plain paper, but you probably will get one use out of them if you make them out of plain paper. If you make them out of something as heavy as this, or something like file folder or something like that, you probably will get a lot more uses out of them than if you make them out of plain paper, because plain paper, of course, is water soluble practically. And I'll tell you what would be similar to this, or what this is like, is contact paper. You remember contact paper that you used to cover things with? That's what this is like. So if you got contact paper, then you'd have your top coat would be the sticky part, and then the bottom underneath would be the release sheet, and that would that's what this is like. So if you use contact paper, that would make a good stencil, because it is plasticky and is more resistant to your paints, to being dissolved by your paints, I should say. I mean, it's all, I mean, the paper you can put your paints on, but it's not resistant to being dissolved by your paints. Your paper would be like, okay, 3 times you wet me up, I'm dead. Okay, one more regular one. We'll start it there and go this way here. And then we need to cross that stem so that that stem is not just, cutting through our paper all the way. So we're going to take the leaf from this side, and this leaf starts out here, and it's going to be a little bit here, and then it's going to cross across like that other one did. And I'm just putting my hand behind it to pull the little leaf part out. Convenient that our leaves cross over it. It's because we make them do that. Okay, so we'll come up to here with this, make our stem that tall, and then our stem will continue on the other side of it. Okay, I didn't get that cut far enough. The most important thing when you're making a stencil is to have a sharp X-Acto knife. So if you don't have, or sorry, what are we supposed to call that? Craft blade, yes. You're not supposed to do brand names unless you're getting paid for it. I don't care. I'm not getting paid by anybody to do this. It'd be nice if I was, but I'm not. Okay, so it is getting a little dull, so we simply change out our blade so that we can, and I am using X-Acto blades, although you have to be careful because some of your craft knives that are not X-Acto knives themselves won't accept the X-Acto knife blade all the way into them, so you do have to be careful to get one that the blade goes all the way down. I think it's Excel is the blades that they don't work with the X-Acto knife blades. But that's life. Okay, so we're making our leaf that goes across from that one. And our leaf that would be next would be here, but we'll go with that in a second. We're going to continue our vine around here a little bit. Where is that edge? There it is. Sometimes it's hard to get back into the cutting groove that you were in. Yay, it's raining. Maybe they won't do their silly fireworks anymore. Okay, and we will cut this end of it off to match that. And just cut this one off for convenience. We'll have to adjust that later. Make it longer or shorter. Okay, so then we would have leaves that went across here from each other. So this one, well, let's make this is this leaf going across. And it bent right there, and then it should be a little, I don't know, it doesn't look quite right. Oh, I know, I need my little point here, be better. Then it'll look more leafy. There, I think that looks better. Okay, but then we want our next leaf, and our leaf is in behind this one, so we won't have the point at that end. We'll just do our leaf like that, and then echo the line that's here. For out in this area, I mean, it's not going to be this vine that's going around in this little tendril thing, so we're just going to put some random leaves out here, I think. So maybe we just have, whoops, we're supposed to be doing that one across from that, so I messed up there, trying to mess up on me. Let's go there. There's a leaf there for that vine. Remember, we're doing that vine too. There we go. That'll work. And the leaf that goes across from, well, wherever the next leaf would be. I need to be a little closer to the vine. There we go. Oh, make that a big leaf. Maybe that's the main vine that went that way, and this is just a little curly part that went this way. Yep, big leaves there. Okay. And if we just want to fill in this, maybe we just put some extra leaves that are just, they don't have their own little vine, they're just flying off some tree somewhere and happen to end up on our page here. And like I said, I don't just go to that half-inch mark because I want my design to go on off the edge of my paper when I'm doing my gel printing. Now that was thunder, if you heard that. Yep. Okay. So we're going to continue with the leaves along this stem. And yes, you can see they're pretty easy. I'm just going from point to point. If you want to draw or have a specific totally straight line, you'll need to draw that straight line and stay on it as you're cutting it. When you're doing a free-form stencil like this, then it's easier to do because you don't have to really stay on that line. You're just making the what it feels like to be a leaf out there. You're not really having to make exactly the same leaf every time. So you can see some of them are a bit smaller and some of them are a bit larger. And these would be closer together because they are on the inside of the curve. And we're not trying to make something look real. I guess if you were trying to make something look real, it'd be a lot harder to do. But I'm not worried about that. I don't really care about reality in my prints because I'm not really trying to make mono prints as such. I'm making papers that are, I think, beautiful to use for whatever use I would have for them. I mean, if I want to collage with them or if I want to make book pages with them that later will be painted on or just use as a background kind of beginning, That's the kind of stuff I'm interested in my gel prints, not in an actual end product. So that's how I make stencils. If you have any questions, you can leave them for me. I will be sure to answer you, and I will show this stencil in my next video. And in my next video, I will be giving away something. Haven't decided what yet, because I hit 100, woohoo, 100 subscribers yesterday. I was very surprised, but one of the groups that I'm in Facebook had kind of a, I guess well, they let us all put up our pages so that we could see each other's pages, and so everybody basically went and subscribed to everybody else's page, and so I have a subscription of 100, and I'm very pleased with that, because it seemed like it was stuck in the 80s, so now I have 100, and so on my next video, which will be how to do something on gel print, I will be having a giveaway, and I'm not sure what I will give away yet. If you have suggestions on what you would want me to give away, you can leave that in the comment as well. I mean, I can give away some gel prints, or I did upload some of the gel prints to my Etsy shop. I could give away, easily give away an Etsy, like a downloadables. I have them as downloadables. I also put some in there as actual envelopes, and was very happy that a person I know bought some and is very pleased with them. Would have been very unhappy if she hadn't been pleased with them, because then I would have had to do something about it. So anyway, here we are, and I'm still doing this, and I never know when to get off here, but I am going to let you go because it sounds like it's getting stormier out there, and I hope you have a good evening. Hope you stay safe. Don't get hit by a errant rocket from your neighbors doing fireworks. Bye for now.